What's the word? What's our boys, man? We back with another video, man. Today we reacting to how good was prime Damian Lillard actually. Know what I'm saying? I know y'all heard about him getting released from the Bucks. That's just crazy, man. Especially for a player like him, bro, to get released or waived. That's just crazy, man. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. And before y'all get on my head about wearing this Bulls hat, y'all know I'm a Warriors fan. Know what I'm saying? This is just for the fashion, bro. You feel me? It's just for it. Where my snacks at though? Hold on. Right here. Alright. Yeah. So yeah, don't be in the comments talking about, oh, you a fake fan. We ain't here for all that, man. We here to see how good was prime Damian Lillard actually. And in his prime, he was getting called better than Steph Curry. So that's how you know he was cold, though.
Let me show you guys two different stat lines right here, A and B. They look quite similar, right? In fact, very, very similar. Right down to the 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage, and even free throw attempts. You would think this is the same player but in two different seasons, but it's not. The first is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's MVP season. The second is Damian Lillard.
The stats
in the 2022-23 season when he was 32 years old, coming off a chronic abdominal injury in his final year in Portland. Of course, there's other things that matter like defense, turnovers, but this was, statistically, Damian Lillard's greatest individual season, yet it's been forgotten, due to the Blazers wasting away the last few years of Lillard's prime. Not just that, but his later years have only been met with misfortune. After all those years of preaching loyalty, Lillard finally demanded a trade. He joined Milwaukee with lofty...
Hey, but you have to understand though, the Blazers weren't making no moves for real. And his team was getting worse and worse. It's like, come on, man. There's only so much. My bad, you know, I'm eating. But there's only so much loyalty you can have before, like, come on, man. Like, am I really going to waste my career with this team? Knowing they're not trying to, like, really have me in a position? Like, come on, bro.
The expectations and a chance to win the title. Not only did his plan fail, but he suffered a blood clot and a devastating torn Achilles, which led to him getting waived. And he probably won't ever be a star again.
Alright. Let's not say all that. Alright, come on. Know what I'm saying? Players are coming back from Achilles and actually playing the same now. This ain't like how much was talking about like years ago. So yeah, hopefully I pray, you know what I'm saying, because Damian Lillard was actually really good. I ain't gonna lie. Pray he comes back the same, bro. Hey, I know y'all been hearing about him having them talks with the Warriors, right? Nah, I ain't got no hidden agenda in that shit, so don't even think about it. But yeah, hopefully he does come back better than ever at that. Cause yeah. Damn, it just sucks though. Oh shit. Hold on. It just sucks though that like he's like getting waived and like acting like he's like bottom of the barrel, bro. He's still like he was good. Like last year I think he was having struggles, but still though he's good.
Yo, let's take a deep dive into one of the NBA's most exhilarating point guards.
It's Lillard. He got the shot off.
Look at this shit, bro.
A player with some of the most iconic shots in playoff history. A player who once shot 42% when taking threes between 30 and 40 feet away from the basket for an entire season, when the league average was 27%. Yet also a player who some folks had an issue with when he got nominated for the NBA's top 75 list.
Oh yeah.
So it's clear the perception,
especially over Kyrie though,
of Dame's career.
It's crazy. And I know a lot of motherfuckers was having problem with him mainly because like he was getting talks about being better than Steph Curry. Like motherfuckers just running to the internet talking about he's way better than Steph Curry and shit. That's why motherfuckers had a problem with him too though.
Career is polarizing, like, and
that's just
why
crazy,
is that?
Bro. That's why you can't be comparing people because then like more people like start like getting mad and shit. But yeah.
Upon entering the NBA, Lillard joined a discombobulated Blazers team who just saw the premature end to their franchise star, Brandon Roy.
Yeah.
However, they still had
Michael, that sucks too, bro. Brandon Roy, bro. Cause like, you know what I'm saying? I had a homeboy, or I have a homie that watched the Blazers and shit, right? And he would show me like, cause he was talking about like Brandon Roy could have been like good and shit and like that. And I was like, and like, you know what I'm saying? I was saying, and then he started showing me like game footage of him and shit. Like, bro, he was good, bro. He was good. He was showing me like, yeah. Damn, bro, this sucks. Like injuries, bro. That's just tough.
LaMarcus Aldridge. They had great three-point
And
shooters
LaMarcus
and a
Aldridge is
strong
good
team of
too,
role players
bro.
down the board. Immediately, this was a seamless fit. Lillard was the 6th overall pick of the draft, but he was also a 22-year-old rookie and a 4-year college player from Weber State, a much lesser-known school. Most scouts believed he was likely the
Hey, but if he wouldn't have gone them 4 years though, he wouldn't have been like this good or like this, or he probably still. So who knows? But he wouldn't have been like selected that high of a pick though.
most
So
polished guard of the whole draft,
Hey.
but some teams turned him away
Worked out in
due
his
to
favor
his
for
age.
sure.
For the Blazers, he is exactly what they were looking for. A mature point guard with insane scoring abilities, who fit into a timeline of a team approaching their prime.
And he has heart and
In fact,
hustle.
he even broke Steph Curry's record for most threes made by a rookie, though that would later be broken by Keegan Murray. By his second year in the league, he was ready.
On a magnificent Easter Sunday, we welcome you to downtown Houston, Game 1 of the best-of-7 series between the Portland Trail Blazers
I
and the
think he sent
Houston
them off to
Rockets.
home.
The Blazers won 54 games in Lillard's sophomore season, but when the playoffs began, in terms of 538's prediction
No.
analysis and betting odds, they were viewed as underdogs in both the first and second rounds. Pay attention to this, because this is a trend that would follow Lillard's entire time in Portland.
Facts.
And as he approached his prime, there were very few years where the Blazers were considered favorites
Hey,
to
and that's what I like about Damian Lillard, bro. He was always considered underdog. And in most of the cases, he would always rise up to the top. Shit. Well, what's not to like about an underdog succeeding? Come on, man.
win their matchup. Dame's career follows quite the unorthodox
Fuck with that
path.
shit for real.
Most high draft picks get selected to a struggling franchise with horrendous players. But the Blazers were not like that. They already had
They
a
had good
competent
players,
roster built around him right when he joined. Little did everyone know these players would be the best teammates he would have throughout his
Facts.
decade-long
I was just about to say that shit. And like, I was just about to say that the Blazers team kept on regressing. It's like,
tenure
that's also
in
why I'm
Portland.
talking about, like, bro,
Over
loyalty
the
can only
years,
take you
Lillard's
so far
supporting
before you
cast
get fed
got
up,
worse
for real,
and
to the
worse,
point.
until
Come on.
he had no choice but to find another
Exactly.
path to the championship. Perhaps most folks incorrectly assumed that this duo of Lillard and Aldridge could usher in a new era in Portland. In reality, the two of them never had a strong relationship. Lillard once said, quote, "I wish it was like more of a brotherhood. I came into the league wishing and thinking he was going to take me under his wing like his little bro. I wanted him to be like, man, let's go eat.
Little
You are
bro.
going to be good. You are going to be an all-star. I wanted him to talk to me like that, but he didn't." Apparently, there was a sense that Aldridge was jealous that the young Lillard was getting all the spotlight. He deserved
Oh, yeah, I
it.
heard about that too.
Everything about his game was electrifying.
Lillard drops the hammer. You saying, wow, you surprised, crowd? I told you.
Damn, bro, seeing this dunk, bro, it reminds me of Russell Westbrook. Like, it doesn't like remind me like that, but like, it just made me think about Russell Westbrook, bro. Fuck, bro, prime Russell Westbrook
His
was so
athleticism,
fucking
his
electric,
relentless
bro.
will to score,
Oh my
his beautiful
God.
shooting touch, and his long three-pointers at a huge volume. A skill set that only Steph Curry can match. In his best years, Lillard made 4 straight All-NBA teams, which included an All-NBA first team in 2018. With numbers that rivaled that of the greatest point guards in history, Lillard quickly became a legend in Portland. Some fans would even say, pound for pound, he is the best individual talent the franchise had ever known. While fans didn't use the term aura that much back then,
trying to
there's
think.
no better way to describe his aura than breathtaking, captivating.
Besides
Opposing
Damian
teams
Lillard,
would
there's
cheer for
Clyde
him when he
Drexler. I
launched a
don't know if
three
they
from the
drafted him.
logo, or when he scored
ain't
at
gonna
least
lie.
60 points 5 different
Old
times,
school.
including
I
a
ain't keep up like that,
71-point
but-
game.
Into the lane, running right-hander up and in. Damian Lillard with that
I don't know.
runner. 71 points, a career high.
Along
that
with
shit
his
was
signature
crazy.
celebration, Damian Lillard stamped his own legacy on the
Hey, yo, bro.
Who can
It's
forget
Dame
his
time.
infamous shot over Paul George?
Facts.
A shot
Hey.
that George later
Have y'all seen that compilation of Paul George getting gamed on? Bro, that
claimed
shit was
infutile.
long, bro.
It was a bad
wait,
shot.
pause.
While he's remembered for his numerous iconic buzzer beaters, his overall body of work in the postseason
And his
is
cancer, that's
not
somebody
as
else who
successful
ain't
as
been
you'd
in the league for a
imagine.
minute.
He's had his ups and downs. For example, the 2018 playoffs marked a significant milestone for Lillard and the
McCollum.
Blazers. Why? Well, because the Blazers entered the postseason with home court advantage for the first time since Lillard got drafted. Heck, even in 2015 when they were the 4th seed, they still didn't have home court advantage because their record was worse than the Grizzlies. By all accounts, it was also an advantage because their
Wait. What the fuck? How are they higher, but... Someone explain that to me, because I ain't gonna lie. I never really paid attention to, like, standings, like, rankings like that. Like, someone tell me about
record
that.
was
What
worse
fuck?
than the Grizzlies.
How they do that? How they happen?
By all accounts, it was also the first time they were deemed as favorites to advance against New Orleans, a team that was severely crippled. They witnessed
Oh, yeah, New
DeMarcus
Orleans had,
Cousins
like,
suffer a torn Achilles a few months prior. They were clearly not at full strength, and without him, it was supposed to be easy pickings for the Blazers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Lillard laid a big fat egg. As the daunting defense of the Pelicans' backcourt clamped him down, it was the worst series of his career,
Yeah, Drew
and the
Holiday,
Blazers
bro.
got
Drew
swept.
Holiday, bro.
One
Motherfucker
could look
need
at
to
the
stop
series
sleeping
and
on
blame
him
it
for
all
sure.
on him for shrinking when it mattered most. But the other angle is, the Blazers' supporting cast was so bad, and the Pelicans knew it too, so their entire defense was geared at trapping Lillard and stopping him at all costs. This was a common strategy that every team in the playoffs used
2015.
against him.
I think that's when the Warriors. I think the Warriors fucked these motherfuckers up after this. I think they
Everyone
packed
knew
them
he
up
was
after
the only
this.
guy keeping the offense afloat, and if you can stop him, they had nothing else. Except for, like, an inconsistent CJ McCollum. You can take one glance at Lillard's playoff stats and simply regurgitate, oh, he struggled in the most important games of his life. In reality, it was a side effect of how little offensive support he had over the years.
Yeah, most definitely.
It allowed every opponent, every defense, to simply ignore everyone else except for him. This was the ideal tactic to beat the Blazers, and it always worked. In the post-Aldridge era, Lillard led the Blazers to 50-plus wins just once. That was in the
thing is, you
2018
can
to
only
19
do so much with the franchise that's not like really trying to put it all on the line for you, bro. Like, for real.
campaign, where things looked like they were going in a good direction. Equipped with the strongest cast of role players they've had in a while, the Blazers recorded 53 wins, the 3rd seed of the West. But something always seems to go wrong, and it happened again. Yusuf Nurkic, who just came off a career season, got injured towards the end of the year, so the team entered the playoffs without their starting center. On the bright
Who was
side,
the
the
backup? I
entire
forgot.
Western Conference got hampered with injuries.
Oh, yeah.
So the Blazers still had a legitimate
Fuck, man. We were supposed to win 2019 for sure, bro. That shit was some bullshit, bro. Like, there's no way, like, our whole starting lineup, except for, like, who, Draymond, got injured, bro.
chance to win the title
What
this
the
year.
fuck? Like,
This was
what?
also the first time of his career where he reached the conference finals, as he absolutely dismantled the Oklahoma City Thunder, followed by a grueling 7-game series
Oh, yeah.
against Denver,
Okay,
where the Blazers
see,
beat them
boy,
in
that
Game
motherfucker.
7 in Denver, of all places, with arguably the
Hey.
toughest home court advantage among all cities.
Yeah,
In the
that's-
conference finals, Kevin Durant was out the entire series due to
Oh.
a strained calf.
then
So
he
in
ended
the
up getting
back
the
of
Achilles
everyone's
tear.
mind, this
I
was
think
the
Achilles
best
tear,
chance
something like
the
that.
Blazers had to win the championship. What initially seemed like an
Wow,
exciting
can't
series
remember that
turned
much.
into, well, another sweep.
I just know he got.
Funny enough, the Blazers
injuries.
held double-digit leads in 3 of the 4 games, yet, as always, the Warriors would mount a comeback in the second half and win.
Lillard gets it. Lillard from the corner for three. Won't go. And that'll do it. The Warriors do it again.
They can turn their gear to a level that nobody else in the conference could reach. And frankly,
damn, bro, I
even
miss his team, bro. I miss his team, bro.
Durant, the Warriors were still far more talented and versatile than the
bro,
Blazers.
if KD didn't
It
get
took a
injured and
long
Klay
time
Thompson
for
didn't
Neil
get
Olshey
injured,
to recognize it, but building a
I think
backcourt
Cousins
around
got
Dame and
injured
CJ
too.
did not work.
and I know
Perhaps
Curry
he
got
really
injured for a little
believed
minute
they
too,
could
but like,
work,
bro,
and he held on far too long before
Damn.
blowing it up. While technically these years were within the range of Lillard's prime, his best season didn't come until later. Remember his abdominal surgery back in 2022? Many suspected his career would never be the same after that. He was on the wrong side of 30. He struggled throughout the year and looked nothing like his former self. As the Blazers fired Olshey, the new front office was anticipating to rebuild. As much as Dame preached loyalty, there's always a limit to that.
fact.
He still yearned to compete for the title, but it may not be in Portland anymore. Burdened with all the doubt, he returned to full strength and had the best season of his career. The season that I mentioned at the start of the video. At the time, the Blazers were transitioning to a rebuilding phase.
Exactly.
Or at least that's what they wanted. Yet you had this Terminator wreaking havoc across the league. In fact,
Like, bro, look at the record, bro. Like, the amount of work he was putting in just for that record, bro. Because this team was looking to rebuild. Come on, man. Like, and like, motherfuckers on Twitter was talking about, like, oh, what happened to this loyalty? What happened to the grind? Like, shut your mark ass up, bro. Well, like, there's only so much you can do, bro. Like, you want this motherfucker to ruin his whole career over, like, loyalty? Like, come on, bro. You gotta understand where he's coming from, bro. He was playing his heart out. Motherfuckers was still trying to rebuild. Like, come on, man.
Lillard was playing so well that the front office approached him towards the end of the season and said, "Dude, can you sit out? We're trying to tank here." They were trying to get a higher pick, so they asked him to not play the final 10 games of the season. Well, more like demanded him. The team subsequently went 1-9 in those 10 games he sat out, and this left a sour taste in his mouth, because he still wanted to compete. With the team moving in a new direction and his role uncertain, he requested a trade in that same summer. Despite Lillard not living up to expectations in Milwaukee and having a surprisingly hard time playing with Giannis, he still tried his best to contribute when healthy. The blood clots, led by a torn Achilles, led
Like,
by
come
getting his
on,
$110
bro.
million remaining salary waived, he's no longer viewed as the superstar he once was, but instead a crutch to the Bucks' efforts to
That's
build
just
around.
a bad stretch of injuries for real, bro. I believe he could bounce back. For real. If we're being honest, he could bounce back, bro. He's always been the underdog, bro. He's the underdog again. Well, what makes y'all think he won't bounce? Like, come on, bro. Yeah, I get it. All that, yeah. And bro, he's always been the underdog, bro. I promise you. He reminds me of Russell Westbrook, bro. Heart and hustle. They got the same shit. Like, come on, man. Heart and hustle, that's gonna get you out a lot. And it's gonna help him with this, man. So I just hope he gets better.
Giannis. Is it strictly his fault this relationship didn't work out? Not necessarily. He was put in a role where he wasn't the primary playmaker or scorer anymore, and many times the Bucks didn't know what to do with him on offense, besides standing to the side and watching Giannis do his thing. Regardless of how his twilight years pan out, there's no question Lillard left a lasting legacy in basketball. 20 years from now, when a young Gen Alpha fan asks, how good was Damian Lillard actually? He was one of the greatest scoring point guards in history. His range had no limits. He's arguably the best long-range three-point shooter ever. Yes, even better than Steph Curry. Damian Lillard once averaged 42% from 30 to 40 feet, while Curry's highest was 38%.
That's what I'm talking about.
Of course, like with all smaller guards, Lillard has weaknesses. In particular, he was never a great finisher at the basket. For his career, he's not as efficient as Curry or James Harden. He was never a great defender, and that's probably his biggest fault. In all those years in Portland, this backcourt tandem struggled on the perimeter. Lillard, in particular, had a tough time fighting through screens, and sometimes
I ain't gonna lie. If you would have paired Damian Lillard up with like Jimmy Butler, or like Kawhi, or like who else is really good? Or like Jaylen Brown. Bro, I ain't gonna lie. That would have been devious. That would have been devious.
Didn't put in the effort they needed him to. Most of it can be attributed to roster construction. He spent best years on rosters that just barely had an outside shot at winning the title. But in reality, his prime intertwined with the Warriors' dominance, and there was truly nothing he can do to over.
I think he should have moved to the East. I ain't gonna cap. That would have been way, or not way easier, but it would have been easier for sure. Cause bro, every first or second or third round, I don't think third round actually. I think yeah, but either every first or second round, bro, motherfucker was getting bounced out by the Warriors, bro. I mean, come on, man, y'all see the team, bro? Like, come on, man. That's literally fucking David versus Goliath, except David ain't winning this one.
Overcome that.
That's the difference.
In 3 different years, the Warriors knocked them out of the playoffs, and by the time their dynasty faded away, the Blazers were starting over, and Lillard became too old to carry a team by himself. I do think, however, his career will be remembered quite fondly. Everyone remembers playoff games, and while Lillard had some bad moments, his good ones will be cherished forever.
Clutch. Oh,
thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Damian Lillard's career. It's probably not over yet, but I think his days of being a superstar are long over. What are your thoughts, and where would you rank him among the best point guards in history?
I don't fuck with counting people out, so.
Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always,
yeah, cause even on sports betting, like I could never put the under on somebody, bro. Like you really count somebody out like that? I'm somebody who it's either don't bet on them or put the over. Like that's it for me. Feel me? Cause but yeah, hey, we made it to the end of the video, my boys. So how y'all feel about this, man? Do y'all really think Damian Lillard's career is like never gonna bounce back, or do you think he gonna come back good and better? Yeah, we made it through the end of the video, you feel me? So if you're new, like, subscribe, and comment down below what you want me to watch next, you feel me? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I think he got it for sure, though. I just want to say that again. But, yeah, we out, though. So I'll see y'all boys later. Hopefully in a new video, or, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, peace.